Welcome to Alternative Egypt, the channel that gives a voice to the myths and legends of our ancient ancestors. We appreciate you leaving a comment on our videos, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more alternative views on our ancient past.
In the first part of this investigation, we explored the extraordinary possibility that the monuments of Giza preserve within their geometry a record of an inversion of the stars of Orion's belt, a reversal that points inevitably to an inversion not of the heavens, but of the earth itself. An event that is recorded in several ancient Egyptian texts, including the so-called Legend of Surid. If you haven't yet seen that episode, you can access it via the link on screen now. In its simplest form, the evidence rests upon the relationship between two key elements of the plateau: the famous Giza diagonal and what we have termed the Great Giza Circle. Acting together, these features present a symbolic horizon against which the drama of the stars appears to have been encoded in stone. Notice that the northeast corner of satellite pyramid G1A touches the Great Giza Circle, the symbolic Earth horizon, in precisely the same way as the Great Pyramid itself. Since the Great Pyramid's stellar counterpart has long been identified as Al-Natak, the easternmost star of Orion's belt, logic dictates that Pyramid G1A must also represent Al-Natak. But there is another clue. Satellite Pyramid G3A is linked to Pyramid G1A by the Giza diagonal, and therefore it too becomes symbolic of the star Al-Natak. The implications are remarkable. For on one side of the plateau, beside the Pyramid of Khufu, we find a representation of Orion's belt, in which Al-Natak lies closest to the horizon. Yet on the opposite side, beside the Pyramid of Menkaura, the arrangement has been reversed. Here, it is satellite pyramid G3C, symbolizing the belt star Mintaka, that occupies the position nearest the horizon. In other words, the pattern has been turned completely upside down. The three stars of Orion's belt, faithfully reproduced in stone, have undergone a reversal of 180 degrees. And given that it is unlikely in the extreme that the stars themselves somehow change their places, we are left with only one remaining possibility. Something else changed. Perhaps the Earth itself. In this second part of our investigation, we will uncover the full extent of the proposed Earth inversion event and reveal how that extraordinary shift appears to be encoded in yet another enigmatic feature of the Giza monuments: the mysterious star shafts built deep within the Great Pyramid. We will discover Giza's former location and measure the scale of its displacement. Then, turning our eyes once more to Orion's belt, we will see that Al-Natak has moved by almost exactly the same amount. Terrestrial motion corroborated by stellar motion. Two independent records, one preserved on Earth, the other written in the stars, yet both pointing to the same extraordinary conclusion. By some unexplained process, the Earth turned upside down. In his histories, the Greek historian Herodotus writes that Egyptian priests had told him that on 4 occasions since Egypt became a kingdom, the sun rose contrary to his wont. Twice he rose where he now sets, and twice he set where he now rises. Such an event, as described by Herodotus, is readily explained by an Earth inversion event, one that many traditions from across the ancient world also appear to describe in different ways. And it is not only the Giza satellite pyramids that can be shown to encode an inversion of the Orion belt stars, but the Great Pyramid's mysterious star shafts can also be shown to reflect the same phenomenon. There are 4 of these narrow shafts built into the body of the monument, 2 extending north and south from the Queen's chamber, and another 2 from the king's chamber. If we extend their trajectories out into the sky, a curious pattern emerges. Unlike the southern shafts, whose trajectories remain straight forward, the 2 northern shafts cross one another. This remarkable feature suggests a transformation in which stars once belonging to the southern sky are transferred to the northern sky, but inverted in the process, as though the heavens themselves had been turned upside down. Seen in this light, the crossing shaft trajectories take on a new significance. An inverted stellar pattern appearing in the northern sky is difficult to explain from a northern hemisphere perspective. Yet such a configuration follows naturally if the observer's location has instead shifted into the southern hemisphere. Stars once seen low on the southern horizon of the northern hemisphere would then reappear in the northern sky of the southern hemisphere, with their orientation reversed by the observer's new position on the globe. In essence, then, the 2 sides of the Great Pyramid represent 2 different Earth hemispheres, built into a single structure. Of course, had the Great Pyramid been constructed while Giza was located in the southern hemisphere, then there would have been no need to cross over the northern star shaft trajectories. The need to cross them over is simply because the pyramid was built while Giza was located in the northern hemisphere, and thus the crossing over is the only way to demonstrate that the Orion stars had shifted to this side of the sky and that their orientation here was inverted. And this is not the only occasion on which the ancient Egyptians appear to have combined skies from 2 different Earth hemispheres within a single monument. Here we see the famous Senamut astronomical ceiling. The ceiling comprises 2 rectangular panels, the lower depicting the stars of the northern sky, the upper portraying the stars and planets of the southern sky, as seen from ancient Egypt. Yet a closer inspection of the southern panel reveals some curious anomalies involving Orion's belt and its companion star, Sirius. Viewed from Giza in the northern hemisphere, Orion's belt appears west of Sirius and occupies the higher position in the sky. Yet on the southern panel of the Senamut ceiling, we find the opposite arrangement. Orion is placed to the east of Sirius, while Sirius is depicted as the taller of the 2 figures. The relationship between these celestial markers has been completely reversed. If, however, we simply replace the Senamut ceiling coordinates with those of the northern sky as seen from the southern hemisphere, the apparent contradiction disappears. Orion once again lies west of Sirius, while Sirius stands higher in the sky, precisely the arrangement depicted on the southern panel of the Senamut ceiling. Returning now to the Great Pyramid star shafts, what can they tell us about the proposed Earth inversion event? If the Earth's outer shell shifted across the globe, the stars themselves would appear to undergo a corresponding displacement. To record this transformation, it seems the ancient designers of Giza chose to track just one of Orion's belt stars, Al-Nitak, the Great Pyramid's stellar counterpart. The existence of 2 pairs of shafts may point to 2 separate displacement events, just as Herodotus appears to describe. The most recent of these would have carried Giza to its present latitude of approximately 30 degrees north. But from where had it come? The shafts themselves may preserve the answer. If Giza was indeed relocated from the southern hemisphere, we must examine one of the pyramid's northern shafts, for these are the shafts associated with the southern hemisphere. But which one? If Al-Nitak had once been visible in the northern sky before the displacement, then during the inversion, it would have descended rapidly towards the northern horizon before disappearing altogether. To the ancient Egyptians who identified Orion with Osiris, this may have represented the death of the god himself. Significantly, the Queen's Chamber northern shaft, sealed since antiquity, is inclined at approximately 39 degrees, precisely the altitude at which Al-Nitak would have vanished from view. If so, the sealed shaft may commemorate the moment Osiris disappeared from the sky. the beginning of the inversion event. Sometime later, Al-Nitak would have reappeared above the southern horizon of the northern hemisphere, climbing rapidly until it reached an altitude of about 45 degrees. This would mark the rebirth of Osiris, reflected in the open southern shaft of the Great Pyramid, inclined at approximately 45 degrees and pointing towards the moment the god returned to the heavens after his symbolic death. It is little wonder, then, that the ancient Egyptians would come to regard Osiris, personified by Al-Nitak in Orion's belt, as the god of rebirth and resurrection. In summary, then, the ancient Egyptian astronomers would have witnessed Al-Nitak descending by approximately 39 degrees, finally disappearing below the northern horizon. Sometime later, Al-Nitak would have reappeared on the opposite side of the sky, rising rapidly above the southern horizon until it reached an altitude of about 45 degrees. Together, these two motions represent an observed latitudinal displacement of 84 degrees, that is, 39 degrees plus 45 degrees. Determining Giza's former latitude now becomes straightforward. If an observed stellar displacement of 84 degrees accompanied Giza's relocation to its present latitude of 30 degrees north, then projecting the same distance southwards from modern Giza places its former location at 54 degrees south latitude. However, because the proposed inversion involved a complete overturning of the Earth's outer shell, rather than a simple north-south translation, this former location lies not in the same longitudinal sector as modern Giza, but in the opposite quadrant of the globe. Thus, although the ancient astronomers would have observed an apparent stellar displacement of only about 84 degrees, reflecting the change in latitude between the two observing locations, the actual geographic separation between those locations was considerably greater. Once the change in longitude is also taken into account, the former and present positions of Giza lie approximately 156 degrees apart, from 30 degrees north to 54 degrees south in the opposite quadrant of the Earth. The observed displacement of Al-Nitak, therefore, matches the latitudinal component of the Earth's relocation exactly, 84 degrees. The evidence derived from the Great Pyramid star shafts is, of course, hypothetical. Nevertheless, it makes a clear prediction and can therefore be tested by returning to the Giza ground plan to see whether the monuments there substantiate the star shaft results. They appear to do exactly that. Here we once again find satellite pyramid G1A, positioned on the Great Giza Circle in the north of the plateau. If this circle is interpreted as a representation of the Earth, then a line drawn from its center through the apex of G1A intersects the circumference very close to 30 degrees north, Giza's present latitude. The other satellite pyramid, G3C in the south of the plateau, is likewise connected to the Great Giza Circle. A line drawn from the circle's center through the apex of G3C intersects the circumference at almost exactly 54 degrees south. Thus, the ground plan reproduces precisely the same geometry predicted by the star shafts, an angular separation of 156 degrees and an apparent latitudinal shift of 84 degrees. The shift of the sky matches the shift of the Earth perfectly. In the third and final part of this documentary, we examine the second set of the Great Pyramid's star shafts and show that they, too, support the Giza Earth inversion hypothesis, and do so in a very particular way.
This video presentation is based on the research of independent author and researcher Scott Crichton. His books are available on Amazon.com and from all good bookstores.